Family, one of the most effective weapons that I've observed in the political sphere in this country, a very effective weapon used by the right, MAGA in particular, has been used against its own base, which sounds crazy, a weapon that they use against their own base, but it's intentional confusion. They actually rely on people not knowing what words mean, and it's been an effective tool for them. They've turned socialism into a pejorative. They label anti-fascism as terrorism. They scream about freedom while supporting systems that take freedom away. And they use trick words, right? Because if you don't understand different types of societies and governments, you can be convinced to vote not just against your own best interest, against your own survival. So let's slow this down. No ideology, no insults, just clarity. Let's start at the top. Capitalism. That's where we live. That's what we actually live under. Capitalism simply means private ownership of business. Profit is the primary goal. Whoever has the most capital has the most power. In capitalism, healthcare is a product. Housing, a product. Education, a product. You are not given what you need. You get what you can afford. Now, people would argue capitalism has created so much in the way of innovation. But without rules or limits or safety nets, it also creates extreme inequality, corporate dominance, 100-year almost wage stagnation, people working full-time jobs and not being able to pay their rent, their health care, or for their education. Some people working multiple jobs and struggling to survive. And that's not a bug. That's how capitalism was designed to work. The system almost requires that some of us have nothing.
It absolutely does require that some of us not have jobs.
I'd argue that capitalism doesn't have any virtues. Pull up on me and we can have that discussion whenever you want. Socialism. This is their favorite word. And man, did they lie to you about this one. They want you to believe that socialism means big government controls everything. Not so fast, my friend. Socialism simply means the society collectively ensures that basic needs are met for everybody. Healthcare, education, infrastructure are all treated as public goods, not profit centers. The funny thing is those who argue against socialism practice it for themselves and each other every day. Under socialism, you still work, you still own money. You still earn money, You still own property. You just won't go bankrupt for getting sick. You don't drown in debt because you want an education. And you don't lose your housing because a company decided that profits mattered more than people. Most MAGA voters already like socialist policies. They just don't like the word. Social Security, Medicare, public schools, as Rams has pointed out, fire departments, and public roads. All of that, socialism. They just don't call it that, and they trick you every time. Communism. This is what they call everything they disagree with. Mm-hmm. Communism simply means the state owns all major property. No private enterprise, no class system, in theory. Power concentrates at the top. The United States is not communist. No serious political movement in this country is proposing communism. Calling universal health care a communist practice is intentional ignorance and intentionally dishonest. But they bet on and have successfully won that bet. They're based not knowing what the word means. Authoritarianism, what we are sliding toward actively. Centralized power, leaders that weaken courts, dissent is punished, and loyalty matters more than the law. You still have elections, they just don't matter. Sound familiar? Leaders attacking judges, the media, protesters, and civil servants while demanding loyalty. It's not about left or right, it's about control. Dictatorship. One person holds ultimate power. No meaningful checks and balances, no accountability, no real opposition. That's just authoritarianism without a good marketing campaign. Very, very similar. What we are somehow sliding into while screaming about how we're patriots and love the Constitution. Fascism might be the word they fear most, because it's not just strong government. Authoritarian power, extreme nationalism, scapegoating minorities as the enemy, suppression of dissent, corporate and state power working together. That might start to sound familiar for you. A cult of personality around a single leader. Fascism needs an enemy. Immigrants, LGBTQ people, journalists, intellectuals, and protesters. That's why the term anti-fascism exists, or what they are just simply calling Antifa. And they're labeling them terrorists. If being anti-fascist is called terrorism, Ramses, what would that make fascism?
Fascism is always going to be fascism, but they're trying to normalize it, I suppose.
Well, what would you call the government that teaches you that being anti-fascism is terrorism?
I would call that government fascist.
Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
Well, there you have it. Black and white. So govern yourselves accordingly. Okay.